Hey everyone, this is Sandy Tavola, and you are tuned in for our Heat Team call, and we are just so excited to be here. I love this team and really excited about tonight's call. And how many of you are going to Phoenix? If you're, yay! And if you're listening in and you haven't got your ticket, be sure and get it. You will not want to miss this. And I am going to, that was basically my one announcement I wanted to make. Get to Juice Plus Live in Phoenix, September 12th through the 14th. And now, without any further ado, I am so excited that Dr. Jan Roberto has agreed to join us. And I met Jan several years ago and just fell in love with her fun, authentic, real self. And she is going to be sharing with us on just a super important topic. And I'll introduce her in just a minute. She's a medical doctor, and I got really exhausted reading this because she and her husband and 8 others provide comprehensive primary care to over 10,000 patients in Springfield, Ohio. And she's been in family medicine practice since '89. And for 30 years, she has been a founding owner and managing partner of the Springfield Center for Family Medicine, and with the Kettering Health System in 2019. And she's board certified family medicine. She completed her graduate degree in the University of Cincinnati, received her doctorate of medicine from Wright State University, the School of Medicine in Dayton. She's really passionate about helping the message and helping people stay healthy. And you'll catch that from her talking. She's been in her own health journey and helping people for the last 18 years. And where I've really gotten to love Jan is we are in a mastermind together, and I get to hear the insights that she has and the coaching that she's doing with people, and because of what we're experiencing. And that's what she's going to talk about: getting your brain on board so you can achieve more, and be a lot happier. So without any further ado, Dr. Jan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandy. I'm so excited to be here. I am just a tiny bit nervous because, of course, this is out of my doctor realm, right? It's my Juice Plus NMD realm, which I love. But I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay. And I do have some slides to share. So if we could make sure that I can do that. And I want to make sure that I can see the chat so I can answer questions maybe perhaps as we go along. So with that in mind, I've been a national marketing director. I kind of made it fast at the beginning, maybe 2 years, 3 years. I've been an NMD for over 18 years and have been strong and solid. I'm not one of those people that lost anything. I praise God. And, I've had my structure and volume the whole 18 years that I've been an NMD. So with that has given us the opportunity to grow and learn as an individual all along the way. And so I'm a student, always learning, and it applies in all areas of my life. So what I want to share with you is just something that I have shared with Sandy as well as Nikki Cotton and a few others. I'm not even sure who all is on, but here's my screen. Don't look at my messy desktop, but hopefully you can see this. So Sandy, tell me if you can see this okay.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, good. Sound good? Can you see my face and the picture?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So the only problem I'm having, give me a second. Let me see if I can pull up the chat. Okay, I've got the chat down here. So if anybody has any questions, just put it in the chat. I'm going to ask you all some questions. So if you could give me some feedback, some love, make sure that I'm making sense. I've never done this quite in this before. Pardon me?
On the higher 500 people.
Hey,
yeah.
Jan, I'm going to mute everybody out because I forgot to do that because I'm hearing voices. So you'll have to unmute yourself in a second. And I apologize. Everybody's muted now. So you have to.
Okay,
unmute
I am
yourself.
unmuted.
Perfect. We're good
Okay,
to go.
great. So with that in mind, no problem, but just make sure if you have questions to put it there into the chat, because I want to make sure if I'm not clear, if you don't hear me, that I can answer your questions. And I promise I will be done within 20 minutes, if that's okay. I'm not sure how long.
And is Jan frozen for anybody else or just me? Sandy? Hello, hello?
Wants to keep what? Pardon me?
I-
Yeah. I'm here. Okay, I thought we were all muted. So if we're not muted, Nikki, if you could take care of that.
No, we are
So-
all muted. We are all muted. You froze for quite a bit of time there, and I didn't know if it was me or anybody else, but nobody responded when I asked, so I'm assuming it was me, but everybody's muted.
Okay, so it's our rebel brain. It's that part of our brain that stops us, that wants to keep us safe and familiar. And you might say, well, what does that mean? It's like, why do I not do the things that I want to do? And why do I do the things that I shouldn't do, right? And so there is this part of our brain, you call it the subconscious. I think that's a little bit woo-woo, or rebel brain. It's just the side that wants to keep you safe and familiar. So if you say, I want to, not eat a bad diet, and you go into the refrigerator and you say, that cake looks good, then your rebel brain is talking to you about eating the cake, but then you get to choose. You get to choose what we call a pivotal moment where you can have another thought. And so you get to say, hey, no, that's my refrigerator moment. I am not going to eat that chocolate cake. I'm going to go in a different direction. And so you want to understand there's usually two decisions. It's the sabotaging thought that keeps you what I call safe and familiar. That's the thought that keeps you from moving forward or perhaps keeps you stuck. And then there's that empowering thought on a second thought. What would serve you better? So you get to choose, hey, close the refrigerator door and I'm going to go in a different direction. Sort of like saying, oh, that's my refrigerator moment. I'm not going to look at the chocolate cake. I'm going to close the door and go for some water. And so my question to you right now, and you can put it in the chat if you want to, is where does that show up in your life? Particularly, since this is Juice Plus, where does that show up in your business? So you might want to, yes, do it tomorrow moment. So yes, I'm going to take my calendar and mark everything in there, but I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it at 1 o'clock. I'm going to do it at 4 o'clock versus how about I'm going to do it now thought. How about I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and then I'll go do something else. So do you see the power? Making phone calls or following up is always a reason to wait. What would it look like, Leslie, if you said, I'm going to do that now? And how will you feel in 15 minutes? How will you feel after you do that? I'm going to do laundry first. Nikki, what is that going to serve you in your business, in your personal life? So at some point, you get to decide how are you going to feel if you make that empowering thought and move forward. Okay, so that's sort of our lesson number one. Okay, it's what I like to call the pivotal moment, the counteracting, the sabotaging thought with the empowering thought, and it's called the pivot. So one, where are you going to pivot in order to move forward? Leslie, it definitely feels better when you take the plunge. Yay, I love that, Leslie. How about plunge instead of pivot? Love that. Okay, number 2 point. Again, I've never done this before on a call, so Again, how will you feel in 20 minutes? Number 2, are you a cow or a buffalo? So many of you have heard this before, and so did I, but it never quite registered until I saw the pictures. I'm a visual person. I can hear things 24/7. If I don't see a picture or I don't write it down, it's not going to register. It's just my brain is wired that way. I got through medical school that way, writing notes, transcribing notes, putting them on index card. Now I put it on my notes in my phone, and then I do it on my notes on the phone. And then it's just the way I learn. I'm not the type that listens and hears. I have to see it. So I'm sure you've heard this story before. I've heard it a million times, but I never really understood the difference. If you are a cow and you see a storm, and if you're like most people, are you going to willingly run into the storm, or are you going to avoid the storm? Are you going to put it off? Are you going to do it later? Okay. Face the fear, right? And do it anyway, or look for the comfort. Most of us go for the comfort. It's the human condition. Nothing bad or wrong with you. It's the human condition to look for what's easy, safe, and familiar. But if you want to move forward in your life, at some point you get to choose to be a buffalo. And you know what? I think this is kind of hokey because, like, right, yeah, be a buffalo. What does a buffalo do? They run into the storm. And like I said, I've heard this so many times, but what's wrong with facing the bad stuff and getting it over with? What's wrong with calling those 5 people that you just do not care for, or those team members that quote unquote get under your skin, and get it over with instead of like judging them or thinking bad about them or, putting them off? Why not just face it and get it over with? And how will you feel at the end of that time? So that's lesson number 2. Face the fear, do it anyway, get it over with, don't put it off, versus being a cow, laying down and waiting for the storm to pass, because guess what? There's always another storm. So face the fear, the uncertainty, the discomfort, and do it anyway. So let's just put a bow around that. And you want to write this down. Imperfect action is better than perfect procrastination. So the cow would be the perfect procrastination. Not going to go into the storm. We're going to just be comfortable here. We're going to wait for it to pass. We're going to wait for the perfect conditions. And, they're going to be hanging out there a long time, versus the cow or the buffalo will have the imperfect action and get it over with. I can honestly say I am more of a cow. More of a buffalo. I'd rather get the pain over with. I hate waiting. I hate I am not patient. So if it's going to hurt, just do it. Just get it over with and let's see what's on the other side. Okay. I don't know if that's what got me to NMD in 2 years. I don't know if that's what sustained me for 18 years. I just do simple things easily, get it over with. I don't fret. I don't worry about the other stuff. I just get it done. Okay. But I have a lot of other things competing for my attention. So maybe that's part of it. But either way, just get it done. Don't put it off. All right. Number 3 point here, and I guess I'm almost getting done here. I only have 2 more points, is discipline. A bad word. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. So the point here is to surrender to discipline. So whether you're a cow or a buffalo, you get to choose if you're going to surrender or resist. So what happens if you resist something? It's going to keep chasing you. But if you surrender to something hard and think of all of the hard things in your business, what happens? Good things happen when you surrender to the discipline. And so with that in mind, I hope that encourages you just a little bit to get over the things that hold you back. When you surrender and give up, what happens? Okay, so finally, my last point, I do believe. Now I have 2 more points, sorry. Judgment versus acceptance. Okay, the reason these are coming up, obviously, I've done some work with a common mentor of ours, Brandon Barber. And so I tried to pull a few of these together for our boot camp in June. And I guess these are the things that really have stood out to me over the last 2 years. But I think this is a big one because a lot of us have issues with judging ourselves and judging others, even though we don't think we're judgmental, okay? And actually, perfectionism is because we judge ourselves. And we judge ourselves because we have felt judged. So I'm just putting that out there. If you're a perfectionist, I'm so sorry. You absolutely have an issue with judging yourself. So the opposite of judgment is acceptance. So what would that look like to all of us if we let go of judgment and just said, it's okay. It's okay if they don't do what we want them to do. It's okay if they don't build their business. It's okay if they don't do what I think they should do. It's okay if they just don't. Freedom. Yes, Debbie, thank you. Acceptance is freedom for yourself, and it's also acceptance to the other people. We are not able to influence those we judge. So do you have a team? Do you want to have a team? Are you on a team? Do you feel judged? You know, how could you not feel judged? You know, you usually are feeling judged if you judge others. So what would happen if you accepted the people that you feel judge you? What would happen if you accepted the people that don't do things that you want them to do? Wow, I know I'm saying a lot, but we are not able to influence those that we judge. So the opposite, obviously, of judgment is acceptance. And the way you do that is to look for the good. And you know what? That seems kind of silly. But you know what? If you are in judgment of somebody, what does that mean? You don't see the good because you either think you're better or they could do better, and you don't see what they're bringing to your life. And so if you can find 3 things that you think are good about them, do you think that could change the way you guys are going to respond to each other? Absolutely. So the superpower is the result of how you appear with acceptance or judgment. And, you know, I mean, a lot of people have done work with, you know, personal growth and coaching and mentoring, et cetera. And I have to tell you, I have probably sampled 8 to 10 over the last 18 years. This makes the most sense to me because it is true when you're around people that you are judging, there's not good stuff happening. And I'm not like this energy guru. I'm a pretty basic person, but there is a reflection of how you feel and how they perceive you. If you show up being judgmental, they're going to feel it. If you show up accepting them, they're going to feel it. And the opposite is true. I'm sure you've been in a room. It's almost like a radar. And it says, okay, I'm safe. I feel accepted. Or, hey, I'm nervous. These people don't like me. What's wrong? Why don't they like me, right? And so what you want to do is show up with acceptance and quote unquote love. That might sound a little strange, but if you look for the good in other people, they will sense that. It will drop their defenses. And you actually cannot influence the people that you judge. And people feel how you are showing up. And I mean, after kind of going through this for a while, I'm a physician, I'm a doctor, all of that stuff. I speak for the company, I'm an NMD, I'm a mom, my husband's a doctor, my son's all of that stuff, right? So I show up, and even if I don't have any energy, people have it for me, right? Oh, you're so busy. Oh, you're Jan Roberto. Oh, you're this or you're that. And I just like drop it all. I look them in the eye, I smile, and I love them. And I want to say, give me a break. You don't know me. Get to know me. See that I'm a real person. I have issues. I don't sleep well or whatever. But you know what I've learned to do? I just drop it and I try to give them love. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I give them the love of God. I look them in the eye and I soften my spirit. I soften my countenance. And then I don't have to defend myself. Then I'm on equal playing grounds. And hopefully they love me and not for all that other stuff, which I think is kind of a smokescreen, because anybody can do anything, but you still have to show up with acceptance. I don't know if that makes sense. So normally, so if I was in a room, I would have you look at somebody and practice this whole deal about looking at somebody with judgment or acceptance. And so we can't do that right now, but I want you to do this with a friend, a spouse, a child, and just take maybe 30 seconds and choose one or the other and say, hey, I'm doing this exercise. Give me 30 seconds. And I'm going to just have these thoughts towards you. And I might be one way or the other. So tell me which way I'm going to be. And, pick judgment and just show up with judgment, not very open, kind of picky and cranky inside, but of course you're not saying a word, and see what they feel. And then have a conversation. And then maybe later on do it with acceptance or do it again and let them tell you. They can feel it. And those are what we call mirror neurons. I'm not sure if that was on the previous slide. Yes, it was. Mirror neurons. And that's what Brandon calls it. It's the superpower. And it really has everything to do with whether you are projecting love or judgment or acceptance. Okay. All right. So people can feel how you're showing up. So that might be a good tool if you are having issues with team, with connecting with people, and just take a look at how are you thinking about yourself and how are you thinking about that other person. Okay, so in summary, and then I guess I'm almost closed here, but maybe we can take some questions or talk about something else. But first of all was the refrigerator moment, brain get on board. I'm going in this direction, name this moment. So it might be phone call moment. And brain wants you to put it off and you're going to say, no, I'm going to do it now. Get on board. We're going to get it done. And you could call it your phone call moment. Or it could be looking at your report moment. It could be looking at the hub and the new information about our computer. Hey, I've done that. It's like 20 minutes. Not a big deal. How many of you think this whole new computer thing is a big deal? It's not. Just brain got on board. Look at the information. Okay, 2. I'm a buffalo. I face uncertainty, fear, and discomfort, and I take action. I'm a buffalo. I can do it. I take action. Number 3, imperfect action is better than perfect procrastination. Imperfect action is better than perfect procrastination. Surrender to discipline. Surrender to discipline. It's not going to kill you. I promise it's not going to kill you. You're going to feel so good after discipline, even if it's 15 minutes, even if it's 30 minutes. A lot of our brains think it's all day, it's 8 hours, it's 6 hours, it's a week. No, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, anything is possible. And finally, number 5, I cannot influence those I judge. You want to have acceptance and looking for the good is a better option. Look for the good and accept people. Finally, accept yourself. You cannot influence others you judge. You cannot help others if you judge yourself. So get over yourself, accept yourself. You're not all that. I'm not all that. I'm just me. And it's so fun to just kind of say, hey, we're all in this together. So I am pretty sure that is it. I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, it's 9:27, and we'll see what kind of chat. I'm sorry, I was not watching the chat. I think that's all. So what do you want to do?
Oh, this was awesome, Jan. It was just so good. One of the things Brandon always says is repetition is the key to what? Invention, something, I don't know. But I love hearing it over and over. And you shared it in a different way. And it was just so good. Thank you very, very much. I know it's almost 9:30 your time. Maybe is there one person that has a question or a comment?
Or come off mute, I'm fine, or you can unmute anybody. I really have never done this before. So I had a few of these made up for our boot camp in Ohio, but I think I talked 10 minutes, not 30. So hopefully it wasn't too much information, but any questions, take yourself off mute. If you have a question, anything is okay.
Jan, I love the specific pieces that you pulled out of Brandon's work. And you just made it very simple and very clear and very calm. Like your delivery was great. I really appreciate it. It was beautiful. I hope everybody else really got the depth of what Jan was teaching tonight.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just in the moment, recognizing that brain, that rebel brain that is trying to keep me happy and content and just doing something over here. Yeah. And stepping outside of it for a minute, can be difficult to remember to do that.
Absolutely, Debbie. That's so good. I think the thing is, everybody, is I challenge you to look inside and say, what do you want from this mission? What do you want from your Juice Plus business? What do you want to do for your future? Some of you have been around as long as I have been, maybe some of you for 1 year or so. What's holding you back? What's holding you back? Because honestly, the few tools I've shared with you are very simple, but they're powerful. And is it your belief in the product? Is it the belief in yourself? Is it the belief in the company? Is it the belief in the mission? So I promise you that the dream is real and the mission is real. And if you really want to move forward, you can. So I hope that helps.
Yes. It helped me. Thank you so much. And was someone saying something?
I was hoping I could thank Dr. Jan Roberto and tell all of you that today I picked out a new notebook to take notes in, and it sums up how I feel. What you said, do something today that your future self will thank you for. And I think Debbie Blair, in the comments, we both said kind of the same thing, which is after I face the fear and walk through things, I like to reward myself for something I love doing. And I always think sitting in front of the computer and doing my work, I'm going to gain 10 pounds in that 10 minutes. So I reward myself by going out and doing exercise afterwards that I love, hikes outside or whatever it happens to be. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you again so much for taking time out of your evening for us. If everyone can, did you have anything else you wanted to say, Nikki?
No, just excited about Phoenix is around the corner. We've got a tips and tools call next Tuesday, I believe. And I can't wait for us to see everybody in person.
Yay. So take yourself off mute So you can tell Dr. Jen, thank you and good night.
Thank you so much. It was
Great
awesome.
job.
Thank
Very
you so
helpful.
much,
Beautiful,
Dr.
concise.
Jen. It was
Hey,
so
Matt.
good.
Really
Great
very
info.
much.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
All right, thank
Have a
you.
great
Thank you so
evening.
much.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.